Hello everyone, how's it going? I'm Teresa Oaxaca here just hanging out in this beautiful park and really enjoying the fall season again. I was gone for about a month in October. I just came back from a workshop in Mexico City where I was teaching painting birds and flowers. And then I was also traveling around Venice and Slovenia on another job. So in all, I was only home for about a week in October, and it was a really good time exploring and getting inspiration. That I'm just so happy to be back now and working in the studio, and I have a lot of new exciting projects coming up. And the cold season is just a great time to stay home for me and really finish projects that I've been wanting to do for the last year. So I usually find that winter is just a great time to just spend at home and work every day, and I'm not going on any big trips unless I have some kind of show or workshop. And then I like to go and do a lot of flower reference gathering and visiting of parks and botanical gardens in spring. So the spring season is usually pretty heavy with gathering new inspiration, and then that goes into summer. Now's the time to use all of that. So I've got some cool yellow ginkgo leaves here. These are one of my favorite trees. I think they're quite ancient. I think they go back to like the prehistoric times. And I might collect some of these and arrange them into one of the koi paintings I'm working on. So I like to do a Matisse type of thing where I put flowers and leaves on the water and I put the fish underneath. So that'll be pretty neat. I actually have a painting I think they could go on. I'm working on a small little like 16 by 20 inch koi painting that's almost done. And what's different about this one is I've been recording every brush stroke, so I'm going to do a voiceover and release that as a streamable video demonstration. So it's just missing something. It's got pansies in it, but it's possible some ginkgo leaves could be just the thing. So a lot of my paintings happen this way. They're quite seasonal, but they also mix seasons. So I think this is going to be pretty nice. So I'm just going to collect these while I'm talking to you, and that'll be fun. Let me see. I have a couple other neat projects that I'm working on that I will reveal when the time comes. And there's a huge amount of sunflowers on the easel right now. So last August I did a really big sunflower visit to a giant field of thousands of sunflowers, and I had fun observing all the different birds that were hanging around. So there were a lot of goldfinches, a lot of indigo buntings, and even a few cardinals, and these wonderful red-winged blackbirds that I'm so used to seeing around swamps around here. And I guess they were, raising their young near the sunflowers, and so, well, there were swamps nearby the sunflowers. That's probably why. But they were all just like feasting on the seeds, and that's going to be really fun to sort through those. I've actually been dealing with a lot of yellows lately because of the sunflowers and then the goldfinches, and I'm realizing how hard it is to see all the different shades of yellow. So it's okay if you have a painting kind of like this where there's blue and green and white and yellow and maybe some pink and red and who knows what. But when the painting is dominated by just like yellows and greens, it actually gets pretty difficult to tell the difference between them all. So I'm making myself stick to just all sunflowers for a little bit so that I can practice my yellow capturing abilities, which should be nice. There's been a lot of exhibitions happening. So I had an exhibit at a couple of places. I had a pop-up exhibit in Washington, D.C. where I demonstrated a really big koi painting. And I am actually happy to announce a couple upcoming exhibitions. So one current one is at the Katzen Art Center at American University. And that one is up until December 6th, I believe. So if you want to come visit, they're open most days of the week. You can check out their website at the Katzen Art Center at American University. But I'm going to be going there this Saturday afternoon because there's an art talk happening. And I have a piece in the show. So I would actually like to go see the show again during a somewhat less crowded time of day. And so I think it's just going to be the ideal moment. So I'll be doing that on Saturday. And another upcoming show is going to be the Mansion at Strathmore. This one's in northern Bethesda, Maryland. And this one I have a somewhat large painting, self-portrait. It's a little bit of surrealist vibes. This one's got some neat kind of like abstract circles that I kind of borrowed from Gustav Klimt. When I was at a visit to the Museum of Modern Art in Rome, I was admiring one of the Klimts, and I hauled out my giant Klimt book and I tried my hand at some of that. It was kind of fun. So yeah, there'll be an opening, I believe it's 1 to 3 on November 22. So I will be at that, and like I said, I'm trying to stay close to the house, so not too much going on. I have another big show happening in Arlington, but that won't be until January, so I'll announce that later. There's a few other events that I'm doing. I have some local art classes. So the first one, the soonest one, is charcoal, drawing the expressive portrait. That one's actually an online class. So that's December 6th and December 20. I do those a week or two apart so that students can practice and do a few drawings, so that way they can get more feedback from me the second day of class. This is the in-person one I was thinking of. This is an oil painting class, painting the still life, December 13 and 14. And that's in Alexandria, Virginia, in Old Town. And it might happen in the Torpedo Factory. It might happen in their new Slater's Lane location. You never know. Depends how many people sign up. And then they put us in a room that fits our size. So both great locations. And for still life, I bring a lot of objects. So think antique store. I bring like tea sets. There's going to be wine bottles, vases of various colors and opacity, so that we get to paint reflections and different jewel-like tones, like red or blue or green or just clear. I always bring a lot of flowers and fruit, so there'll be just the usual gathering of, greenhouse available roses and lilies and carnations and things like that. Usually bring a few dolls. I bring a few abstract. I'm thinking about my art. I bring a few birds. Thank you. I bring a bunch of things, and then the school has things too. So what I do is I set up a very long banquet table type of display, just heaped with goblets and fruit and still lifes and dolls, and then I do a demonstration every morning and explain my whole process and colors and materials and how you do the painting, which is the most important part, because it's tricky. It's not as straightforward as you would think. And then the students' work, I go around and offer constructive feedback, sometimes demonstrate a little on their painting. When they get to a more advanced stage and they can sort of handle the nuances of color and things like that. And then yeah, that's the 2-day painting the still life workshop. There's also a January 3 and 4 drawing the portrait in charcoal in Alexandria. So we have live models for this. And again, I do a portrait drawing demonstration. I discuss how to get the portrait. I discuss artistic anatomy, morphology, the way the muscles and the bones kind of interact with the skin, and you know, the expression. And there's also a lot of line work going on with the charcoal too. So and then another January class